Welcome back to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two great friends recap romance novels, do big swoons, and cackle their faces off. We've got about 3 weeks until the annual Heaving Bosoms holiday, St. Vincent Day. In addition to planning all your warm cocktails and cozy reading spots to curl up in, we have some fantastic St. Vincent items for you in our Etsy store. There's a book sleeve to keep your books, planners, e-readers, or anything else safe when you're on the go. The inside is fuzzy, and they feel so incredibly lush. Those feature art of St. Vincent and Evie during their carriage adventure, and was created by Mayara Faraz. There's a St. Vincent Would Always warm brick enamel pin. It's a real if you know situation. I designed a special edition Marriage of Convenience candle that is specific to Devil in Winter with the help of HB Jen at Post Pouring Company. It combines dark amber for St. Vincent and rosewood for Evie, and it smells so good. So, if you want to treat yourself or be the St. Vincent you want to see in the world by getting a care package for a friend, check out our Etsy store. The link is in the show notes. But now, we're back with part 2 of The Midwife and the Orc by Finley Fenn. Trigger warning for discussions of abortion, self-harm, and negative self-talk. Here we go. So then they get to Orc Mountain, okay? And she's scared, and he's like, don't worry, none of my orc brothers will hurt you. You're wearing my seed all the fuck over you.
Yeah, that's right. You're not pregnant because you can scent that, but, they can smell me all over you.
Yeah, you're claimed. So he takes her in, it's like super dark, and she hates it. Yeah. And he takes her to the captain, and they talk, and he's like, hey, captain, change of plans. I'm in love with her. I don't want to ruin her life.
For everybody from book one. Yeah. And Jewel is like sleeping with their son in his lap. Like,
oh my God.
I love Grimoire. Yeah, wasn't it awesome to see him again?
It was so good.
And his lieutenants, the maiden pair.
Yeah.
I love them.
They're so good. Balder and somebody else. Anyway.
Yeah.
So he's like, as long as you're okay with it, quick change of plans. I think we can still do an adjacent outcome, but like with more hot sex between this one and I.
Right.
Are you okay with that? Also, she's a midwife. You know what I mean? Like she can be very useful.
Yeah. Because we have women here and around, like in the territories, and they could come see her. And this is a gift to our clan. This is
And so she, in that moment, not only finds out that everybody in the room knew and helped plan this plot to ruin her life.
Yeah.
And then she also finds out that, like, the captain is totally cool with just riding along with this. It's fine.
Right.
Cool sauce.
But she's irritated.
Yeah. And for some reason in the hallway, I don't remember why, it's pitch black.
Yeah.
His orc eyes can see, she can't.
Right.
And he finds out that her dad locked her in a crypt or forgot her in a crypt or something when she was young.
She got locked in there and he didn't come searching for her for
notice.
2 or 3 days.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And so she has a hard time with enclosed dark spaces.
Yeah. One would think.
Yeah.
Right. Her father is useless. Oh. How do you not notice? It might not have been days, but it was a lot of hours.
It was
hours. And when you're that young, I'm talking about that probably felt like forever. How do you not notice your child is missing?
Gone.
She wasn't a teen. She was a child.
Yeah. She was a small one.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's one of the things he says. He says, they make a deal. I'm sorry. Before they get to Orc Mountain, they make a deal. He's like, she's like, if you, because his whole thing is, I'm making a sacrifice taking you to Orc Mountain because everybody's going to know about my absolute abject failure.
Yeah.
That's what you represent to everyone.
Because you're not pregnant.
And you're not ruined.
Like you should be. Right. And you're not ruined. Yeah.
And so she's like, what if I pose as a midwife to everybody who doesn't know?
Right.
And then you don't have to chat about it with everybody who doesn't know. And he's like, wow, that sounds nice.
And we have lots of fun, aka fucking, while we're there.
Yeah. He says,
I'm with that.
If you show your wit and your mettle and your hunger to my kinsmen, I will show you lots of fun.
And that's very important because that's going to once again come back to bite her in the ass.
It's a Fae contract is what that is.
Yeah.
It's real tricksy.
Right. That's right. That's
real
right.
Tricksy, this guy.
It's like fucking Golem over here.
Oh my God. Honestly. God. So what happens?
He realizes she can't see in the dark. And so he goes to it's like the equivalent, I guess, of a storeroom. No, because
it's like a trading post kind of thing.
Yeah, trading post kind of thing. And he gives her a lamp.
A bodega. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. A
bodega. Mountain bodega. A Splash Mountain bodega is what it is.
The little plaque above it.
And he hears him fighting with the person all in what they call black tongue. Which Fenn, again, how very dare you? Okay, that's the perfect detail.
It really is. It really is. Because it's so Lord of the Rings. It is. It really is. Yeah. So they're arguing, but she can't tell about what. Mm-hmm. And he comes back out with a lantern.
Yeah, because he's like, you did really well in front of my captain back there, and I was wondering why you smelled of fear. But now I get it. It's childhood trauma. No worries. We can mitigate childhood trauma.
I got you.
Yeah. And then he's like, and it's really nice to remind that fuckface over there that I am part of his clan and he needs to deal with me fairly.
That's right. Oh God, I couldn't stand him for most of the book.
Oh, it's so good.
God.
And then she's like, okay, well, I'm with you.
Oh,
what's
next? About the shopkeeper. Yeah. Okay. I'm talking about Silfast. Okay. All right. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So then she's like, what's next? And he's like, do you really want to meet my clan and see their ways or something? Are you really ready to do that?
She should just analyze every fucking thing that comes out of his mouth.
Maybe 5 clarifying questions. Right. 5 of them. And you got to get real imaginative, all right?
Yes. You
really got to look at it.
To us, I'm thinking the way he said it, it's like, sure, I'll go meet your clan and learn about your traditions. What? Do you I don't know, pray before you eat?
Sure. She knows that he's not very well liked, and so she's like, I'm ready to give anybody sass. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, right. Let's do it.
I'll show you my mettle. Yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
And so he very determinedly takes her into a fuck cave.
Free for all. Fucking sex free for all.
It's hot. I'm not going to lie. It's hot. It's awkward. It's all the things.
All the things. Because I can just imagine me walking into there and I'm like, everywhere I'm looking, somebody's fucking. I mean,
it's all BJs and butt sex. I don't know what's happening.
That's it.
All the BJs, all the butt sex. Everywhere.
The only people who weren't was the mated pair, the captain, the battle captain, and
that was such a good detail. Everybody is having a legit moaning, groaning orgy around them.
Yes,
and these two, one of them is the captain of the whole thing. He's the leader of the whole clan. He's sitting with his mate, and they're both sewing. Yeah, it's so cute. And we needed those details with Silfast specifically because he's such a fuckhead. We needed to see those softer sides. Yeah.
When it comes to his mate, to Stella, she's the only person who gets that side of him. Yeah.
He's still an overbearing, idiotic puppy.
Oh my God, isn't he? Who does not listen.
No. Puppy nonetheless.
And is not very observant.
No.
I mean, Grant, we'll give you this, dude. You haven't had a mate before, but hell, look at her. Look at her. She's not happy. Yes.
Shriveling in front of you.
Losing herself in front of you. Yeah. And it is not only due to the pregnancy.
It's absolutely.
You. It's you.
It's the way you're handling the pregnancy.
Yes. Yes.
So they meet and he's like, oh yeah, who's this who wears your seed in my house?
Right. But isn't pregnant by you.
Yeah. And there's no orc baby up in there.
Right.
And he's just looking straight ahead, not offering her any hints or assistance or anything.
No, he freezes
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So then, basically what happens is he's like, oh, yeah, the leader says, oh yeah, did he tell you all about our goddess and our rituals and all the important business that has to be attended to before we can do anything else? And she's like, I don't know, I'm just a midwife, man. Like, he did tell me about this goddess or whatever. He told me so
lied.
many
She hadn't
things.
heard anything about a goddess before.
She's like, oh, nothing to see here. I know about the goddess. But midwife, though? And he's like, oh, no. You're going to take care of this ritual before anything else happens. So you need to go over there and fuck on that altar in front of everyone. Naked.
And she's like, say what now?
Record scratch. I'm sorry. This is trying to let on that it's not like new information.
Right, but it's new as hell.
Oh, it's sprung on her and not in a good way. And he
still hasn't said a thing. Mm-mm. Like, Joar still is just like incommunicado.
Yeah, and like staring at a wall. Like he's catatonic almost.
Really, really.
And so she's like,
you get why,
okay, I guess, like, I guess we're doing this. Like, I feel like I agreed to show him my mettle, and I agreed to learn his clan's ways, which now feels much more significant.
And she caught on to that. She caught on to that. That there was something much deeper going on here.
He knew what he was walking her into, and he didn't
tell her. Nope. But later on, he says, I did tell you. I asked you, were you ready to show my clan your strength, your hunger, and your mettle, like, and your wit? And dude, no, you didn't.
Nope. You can't do it in riddles. What are you, a bridge troll? I didn't go out to date a bridge troll. Okay?
She had to pay the fee in order to be in the Fork Mountain.
I clicked the orc button, okay? And nobody told me it came with riddles. This is bullshit.
Right, that's right. I did not sign up for this shit.
There was a multiple choice mythical creature bang-a-thon checklist, and I chose orc. God.
But when she agrees, that like cracks his paralysis, really. And he like looks at her and is like,
are you sure?
Yeah. Are you sure you want to do this? And
she's basically like, mad. She's daggers in his eyes, but she's like, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, bitch. That's what she's thinking. Get over here and let's do this shit and let's get it over with.
Yeah.
Because so you left me out here to like dry.
Hanging out to dry. Absolutely. Yeah. And this is another fucking genius masterstroke that I didn't even think of until this very moment. Because the whole book is about choice, informed, free choice. And not only does she show that in all of the good ways and all of like, you know, the tangential bad ways, there's consequences of lack of choice that hurt other people, but she also shows the consequences of being forced into uninformed choices with the couple.
Yes.
Because she does this
so many times.
So many times. It's so good.
Yeah. Oh, God. And it isn't just with them.
Right. No, yeah.
Yeah, it's like she does this again with another couple. And you can see how if you don't have all of the information to make the right choices, it can destroy your relationship.
Yeah.
So I love how she did that. Same. I love how she did that.
So now we have some exhibition ritual sex.
Right. All the oars stop fucking and watch them.
Yeah. You know, and she's like, he can feel her starting to get nervous, obviously.
I love this part.
So he does start just biting up on her ears, everyone.
Yeah.
And he's
like, look at me.
Me and only me.
And then when she like starts to get a little distracted after he kisses her and she starts to look around, he grabs her chin and was like, look at me. I was like, that was hot.
Oh my God. And every time he like does every time he can feel her like slip back into comfort a little bit, he like chuckles, which is really also so very hot
and wicked and
arrogant
dirty
and
all the things.
So they have some doggy style sex, and then apparently part of the ritual is that all those orcs have to see how much cum she milks out of him. And so when he pulls out, he not only pulls out, but he also like separates her ass and like gets back a little bit so everybody can see just like splooshing out of the orifice. Okay, everybody?
Never ceases to amaze me how far we can go.
I loved it.
Oh God, it was great. It was
great. I loved that we saw in the moment how conflicted, but how still into it she was.
To it. Yeah. Yeah. Which was
like
so
riding
realistic.
that shame line again.
Yeah. Yeah. Because she's never been an exhibitionist. These are all in front of orcs. And this is all so weird, but also hot. Like, yeah.
It's hard. It's rough, man. And so then he like talks to the goddess of the hearth or whatever.
The like fireplace hearth right over there.
And he's like, Bautul, I brought this bitch to you. Do you love her? And then Bautul spits some sparks at him. And she's like, yeah.
I know. She's like, hell yeah.
Carry on. Oh, I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
So now he's a big man on campus. He's finally, she realizes like as this unrolls that like this is a rite of passage that everybody in the clan has to do.
Right.
And later on, it's weird for her because everybody keeps calling her his mate and treating her as his mate and welcoming her to the clan.
He's never said that to her. Like he's never.
He did not.
No, they've never discussed this. He's never claimed her that way.
Right.
Even though they're having all the fun, it's never going past the fun.
Yes. So then they leave. They do bounce. He's like...
him and his words.
Yeah. Yeah. So they leave. They go out to the corridor.
He's still a male at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. She's very quiet. And she's like, I just need a bathroom. Can you please get me to a bathroom? And can we talk somewhere in private? And he's like, yeah okay, sure.
Yeah.
Silent.
He knows he's fucked up.
He knows. He's not dumb. So he takes her down into like a spiral staircase latrine or something. And she's like, why didn't you tell me? Mm-hmm. And he's like, I did. Letter of the law, fake contract, did. And she's like, you know you didn't. And that's bullshit.
And he pulls out the words from earlier, like, I told you you would have to show them, you know, your wit and your strength and your hunger for me. I mean,
and you have to learn the ways of my clan.
That's right. And you said you wanted to.
Yeah, you said
you signed up for this.
That sounded like consent to me.
And she's like,
no, that's
bitch, no, I didn't. you know you didn't explain that to me.
Yeah.
You know
and she's like, did you like you just knew that like what, because I'm easy, that I would, you know, like what the fuck, man? Did
like you use my my attraction for you against me. Like that's what you did.
Again.
Yeah, again.
And like just like Roy does.
Yes.
You've manipulated me just like Roy does all the time.
Yeah. And then she spirals and she's like, basically, it's because I'm stupid. It's because I'm like naive. It's because I'm weak, and just spirals. And that's why she keeps falling for this manipulation and so easily. And they believe they can do it is because of her.
Right.
And so at this point, he takes her into a second, like she's doing all this, going through this all in her head in a second room. And he waits outside because he thinks she's about to do like take care of her hygiene and whatnot. But what did she find? I can't.
She takes off the handle of the lantern that he got.
Yes.
The metal handle, and she scrapes it all the way down her forearm.
And she's bleeding.
And she's like, "This I can handle. This pain. This I can handle. I understand this.
Yeah.
This is very straightforward. This pain.
Yeah.
And that is what I need right now.
Right.
And so then she's like, okay, I can handle it. This is fine. I'm all put back together again. But then in an instant, he's in front of her in this cramped bathroom situation. And he's like, no, you cannot do this to yourself. You cannot hurt yourself.
Smelled her blood. I was just like,
and she's like, you don't get to tell me what the fuck to do.
Right.
You have not been playing fair with me. You don't get to tell me. Yeah. Because while they were outside, she was also like, did you not know? Like, weren't you afraid that I was going to like shoot you down and embarrass you in front of everyone?
Right.
And he admits that no, he knew that she would be a ride or die.
But it wasn't because she was weak. He knew she would because just the opposite.
Because she's loyal and strong.
Yes, but he didn't tell her that. Like,
no,
you know, heaven forbid he uses his words that she can understand.
Yeah.
But then there were moments where he truly did, but they were a little too late because she'd already, you know.
Yeah. So he licks up on her forearm and he heals her. Mm-hmm. And then how does he make this better, Naima? I think he says, like, ask me anything and I will speak
I'll
through.
tell you. Yeah, like ask me, and so they have a conversation. Yes, yeah. Which is that because she wanted to know why Silfast was so ugly towards him, like he didn't belong there, and he tells her about how his grandfather, and they called him seer.
Yeah,
like that's what they called the seer
of the tribe. And so that used to be the clan. So that used to be like the de facto leader.
Yeah. And after a big battle, like his grandfather was on Orc Mountain. I think after a big battle that he fucked up, like because of him, they lost a lot of lives. And so instead of just owning it, he and facing like the consequences of that, he ran off. Like
he ran off and he pretended to be of a different clan.
Like the Sky Clan. Yeah. And because of his build, it wasn't unbelievable.
Right.
And so he had a mate, had his father, and his father he said he didn't think his father knew the truth, but apparently his father back to Orc Mountain, or some way how he came back to Orc Mountain. But all this time he believed he was, and then the Kayesh, that's how I'm gonna pronounce it.
I said Kayesh, yeah, the Kayesh.
Kayesh, which are the learned,
the book ones, the book orcs.
Yeah, the book ones. Yeah, they told him a few months ago that the truth about his lineage.
Yeah,
and it was so cute, like because she's pissed at him.
Oh yeah,
but then she got pissed for him.
Yeah, he's like, they outed you.
Like
that is fucked.
Yeah, that's right.
Like she's ready to take some orcs down. She's ready to be like, "Are you bad? Because I will end you."
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my god! And he's like, "No. They only told me in private, but I couldn't live with a falsehood like that."
Yeah, because he has this core of honesty, and honor, because he doesn't mind telling the lie now.
No, and he got it from his papa. You know what I mean? Like he comes by it very honestly.
Like, yeah. So he's not the chief spy for no reason,
right? And then, so the issue then is that because he's Bautul, his grandfather used to be the leader, and that used to pass son to son. But since he just like up and disappeared, since then it's been the battle captains
who
have been the leaders. So he presents himself as like grandbaby seer, and so
Silfast is like, fuck the hell you say? You're not taking my position. You haven't earned this position, and your grandfather was a coward.
Yep.
And so he does not welcome him into the clan, really.
Not to mention that he's been raised Sky.
Right.
He has
and so that's
different...
like
he
has different customs. He doesn't know their customs. And Silfast's big thing is you don't know the goddess.
Yeah.
You know? And he feels like he's the voice of the goddess and whatnot. And, you're walking in here like we've known you from this different tribe. You're the chief spy. You don't know our ways. So, and then you want to, you got the title seer. And when Silfast says it, it's not a compliment.
No.
Yeah. It's not.
Yeah. So she then understands, and she's like, I was just, I thought I was just a pawn to him. But he tells her, like, you weren't a pawn. What I was thinking was I was finally going to have somebody with me, like helping me.
At my back.
Being by my side. That's why I knew you would do it. Not because you're weak, not because of anything like that, but because you're so good and you're so loyal. And, I've been basically alone. Since this I've had no place.
Right.
And I thought that you could maybe be by my side. And she's like, would have probably still done it had you just told me out loud with your fucking words. God.
You'd have shared them damn thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And he's also like, which is what he told Silfast if he wasn't like so pig-headed.
Yeah.
I'm bringing us a gift. Like I'm bringing all of Splash Mountain a gift, a midwife. And she took one look at Stella and saw that all was not right.
Yeah.
And Silfast is like, The fuck you say? She's not touching Stella. We have a healer for that, which is just ignorant because she's human.
Right. And we find out that it's even more deep-seated than that because apparently under Silfast's, paradigm, Bautul has been led to believe that anytime you go and seek a healer or anything like that, it's a show of weakness.
Weakness, right.
Instead of care.
Right.
And so there's a really good chance Stella's not even seeing a healer because that would show weakness, which would reflect on Silfast.
Right.
And it's just a mess. Oh,
and
it's just a goddamn mess.
She doesn't push it because she doesn't want to shame him as his mate. Like she doesn't want to appear weak. Right. So yeah, it's like so many like religious things like wrapped up in this, and their whole philosophy so contradicts who Joar is. Like it's so it makes zero sense to him.
Absolutely.
He's disgusted by it. It makes zero sense to him.
Yeah.
And so she's like wasting away before his eyes, and he's too stubborn and just blind to see it.
So then Joar's like, I promised you garden and fun times, and then I did spring all this bullshit on you. So how about gardens?
Fun time.
Like gardens? I'll show you my garden.
Have I got a garden for you?
I got a secret garden just for you. So
Jones up in his bitch.
So he takes her to his garden and she's like blown away and she's like, it's amazing. It's so beautiful.
The way she described it, it was amazing. Like a little paradise.
Yeah. It's the Garden of Eden. Like really.
It really
That's
is.
what it
really
reminded me of.
That's
what it calls to.
Sex. But I'm sure Adam and Eve were having sex in that garden.
Oh no, it's definitely the Garden of Eden before, shame and Puritanism.
And fig leaves in her.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
So she's like, where would you put my garden if I were to bring it here? And he takes her to the very center of this garden in like a prime place. There's a beautiful altar and a gorgeous old ancient tree. And she's like, oh my God.
And I don't know if Finley Fenn meant this.
Yeah.
But to me, that the fact that that plot of land was right in the center, prime spot with that altar, like that blessing, like sacred altar. That was so symbolic to me because she has never had prime position, priority in anybody's life.
Never.
Not since her mother died. So
and
I don't know, but it just spoke to me.
No, I think it absolutely did. It definitely read that way to me.
Yeah.
But it was somehow like maybe even turned up a notch because it's like he did it naturally and with like subconsciously almost.
Right.
Because he doesn't even believe in the goddess at this moment.
No. He calls like your bullshit goddess.
Yeah.
He's not really buying into their thing. He's not. And he doesn't even recognize that that's an altar in the middle of that. He doesn't recognize that.
Yeah, but I think on some innate level he does.
Yeah.
And that's
because of who he is, because of his lineage. I totally agree. Yeah.
And it was perfect within the narrative structure because it allowed her to notice it, wonder about it, be like, oh my God, am I important to him? And then brush it off because she knows he's not religious.
Right.
And like that kernel had to grow within her throughout the book too. God, it was so good.
Yeah, so good. I'm like, does she plot? Like, does she think all this through? Like,
what kind of goddamn labyrinth is her brain?
Right. I'm like, do you have like a like chart with like threads here, threads here? Because it's insane how it just all kept reappearing, how like these little kernels of thoughts and then symbolism, like with even with the pine cone, and it kept coming back, and I'm like, damn, I need to go take a class.
No, her craft is tight, like
it really is
amazing,
and the world building is freaking amazing.
Yeah,
because like you said, every clan has their own thing, and so like the world building is so like layered and rich and like almost complicated sometimes because they're so different, but not overwhelming to the reader.
Yeah. And I think that's also really smart from like a strategic author standpoint, because like for other, let me think, something that might be similar that pops into my brain is like the Ice Planet Barbarians, you know?
Yeah.
But there's always like I don't know. I feel like Ruby Dixon has to think so much more about how to make each Sakui different on their own, because their culture is one. There's no deviation from, you know, the one tribe. And so this way, I feel like it gives her as an author so many more cultural touchstones to draw back from in order to like create these characters. And like, wow, she takes advantage of it.
She does. And she does it masterfully. Like, it's wonderful. Like, I love it. Like, I love it.
Yeah. Oh, hey, HBs. I don't know if you've heard, but we have a Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you get over 150 bonus episodes, most of which include Aaron, videos of regular episodes, author hangouts, and so much more. Do you want to hear Aaron and I recap every single episode of Crash Landing on You? What about a little film called Psycho Stripper? Do you want more recaps of ridiculous Thanksgiving and other holiday books and movies? And how do you feel about Naima Simone and I recapping amazing reality TV? All of that and more is on the Patreon. There's so much content at your fingertips as soon as you sign up. Seriously, hours and hours. Anyway, it's patreon.com/Heaving Bosoms Podcast if you want to check it out. And of course, that link is in the show notes. Keep being a badass. Sorry, so then, like, he's like, I'm going to show you fun now. It's fun times. We're going to do a lot of fucks. We're going to do a lot of plant things.
In a hammock.
Oh my God. Have I told you about my random sort of knee-jerk obsession with putting some sort of sex swing into the pleasure chest?
No, I would have remembered that.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I would have remembered that.
But like every single time we think about a logo or like a scene that could happen in the pleasure chest or anything, I'm always like, I don't know, is there a sex swing?
Sex swing? Why would you mind not go there?
I have no idea why.
And look, in that one scene where they had sex in a hammock, it really freaking was a sex swing.
Yes. Yep. It was a sex swing.
It was like I feel like it was the origin story of the sex swing. That's what it was.
Fenn gave me exactly what I wanted, and neither of us knew. Good Lord. So, I don't know. It's a great time. And then, I don't know. She has like a moment of, you don't like me, you don't care about me. Right?
Yeah.
Because he keeps on sort of going hot and cold with her after sex.
Like, after sex, right.
Yeah. And like,
it's like, come on, that's like the most vulnerable time for a woman.
Yeah.
You've bared your body, you've
literally invited someone into
your body, right? And she doesn't have like the best relationship, like history.
Yeah.
With a loving partner.
No.
Who has aftercare down to a science. She has not had that. You know, a side bitch showed up at the door after they just finished having sex. This is the history she's coming from.
Yeah.
So you running hot and cold is not really helping.
Right. And it's sad because it's a defense mechanism for him, we find out.
Oh, yes. Because he's feeling
too many feelings.
Yes. Yes.
And he doesn't want to like pressure her into being his mate and staying and like doing forever with him or whatever.
Right. Based on fun. He wants her to want to be there.
Yeah.
For him.
But her insecurities and her negative self-talk, it's like the worst thing for her.
Yes.
And, you know, it's a beautiful mess is what it is.
It's like the whole thing, like them is like they're a beautiful mess.
Yeah.
That's like the perfect word. It was such a lovely, hot, emotional mess.
Yeah.
And I love the way it just spread all out.
Yeah. So he's like, I don't know. I think she's like, you don't like me. You don't want me around or whatever. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I've been feeding you.
We fuck like crazy.
Yeah. We've been doing all the things.
All the fun.
And you slept for the first time in, I don't know, weeks, question mark?
Hello?
Yesterday?
Yes. Hello. Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that he remembered that. Or no, because he had been watching her. That's when she realized, what? This motherfucker really been watching me.
Mm-hmm.
And he listens.
Yeah.
And that can be scary and that can be great.
Right. And so he's like, I didn't let anybody come. Like, there were people who, oh, that's what it is. Because she's like, oh, Stella comes and she hears about all these healers, right? Are you frozen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no, you're good. Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, you're good. Also, I'm
okay,
good.
Cool.
So, yeah, she hears about all these healers and she's like, it was just a manipulation. You telling me that you needed a midwife here was just a manipulation.
Have a healer. Yeah. And as far as from what Sylphast said, or somebody else said it too, I think, like, he's like the healers of healers. Like, like he's amazing.
Yeah.
What do you need me for? That was just another lie to get me here.
Right. And he's like, what? No, you're a human woman who knows shit about other human women. And you're also just like generally brilliant. And we do need you here. Because like, what the fuck are old ass orcs gonna know?
That's right. About human women's bodies in childbirth. Like,
they're doing their best.
This is your thing.
Yeah. And like also, and he clocks into the fact that like, there's a really good chance a human woman might not be super comfortable talking about certain things with an old ass orc man.
Right.
And
right.
So he's like, you are needed here. And she's like, wow, he notices that midwifery is a holistic experience that is like transcendent and important.
It just made him that much sexier.
Yeah. So then he takes her on midwife rounds.
Yes, and I loved this part of the book. I did that, and when she basically held office hours, like I just loved it. I loved it.
Okay, so should we just skip to office hours because I'm thinking of it? Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, like more mountain stuff happens, lots more sex happens that you should read about.
That you should read.
I'm so sorry. We cannot skip to office hours. So sorry. We do have to do garden altar times first because after this, wow, I can't believe how negligent I just was. Yikes. They call me a professional. No, I'm kidding. Who does that? Okay. So then after these rounds, she's like watching all of these orcs with these women and they're just so effusive and affectionate. And like the last round they do of the day is his like old clan brother Simon.
Yes. Oh God.
Yikes.
We see it.
They walk in.
Doing
and
anal.
They are in flagrante delicto. Okay.
Right.
They're doing a doggy
style. Middle of it. Yes.
And Simon is like, we have guests. Do you want me to stop? And his wife, Maria, is like, no, do not stop. And he's like, yeah, show them what an awesome orc mate you are.
So he pulls it out of the vajayjay.
Butt.
He put it in her ass.
Right then.
And Gwen is like, holy shit, she's taking that monster.
Yeah.
Because he has tree dick. Like, because he's huge. He has tree dick. Like, is he gonna split her in two?
Yeah. And so she's like, oh my God, what an actual human feat. And
right.
Yeah. And so Joar is like, oh yeah, Maria's a really, really good woman.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. How do we almost skip that? Because that sent her.
Oh, and that is a spiral I recognize.
Oh, absolutely.
That is a familiar spiral.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So she's like, oh my God. That's what he thinks a good woman is. She's tall. She's curvy. She's beautiful. She takes orc cock any which way.
A champ.
Wow, doesn't even think about it at this point.
And she doesn't care that there are people watching.
She's fine with the exhibitionism.
Yes.
Just she's cool with it. And like I think maybe none of those things. I'm none of them.
She definitely says I'm not a good woman.
No, I'm not a good woman.
His standards. Yeah.
If that's what a good woman is, not me.
None of that.
Super not. So she does the whole consultation like a fucking professional.
Champ.
Okay.
Because she is. That's what she is.
That's right. And so his competence boner is all over the place.
It really is. He's so proud.
Honestly. Yeah, and all day he's been sitting back and like he'll do interference when something awkward happens. Like they're like, can I see you next week? And nobody knows if she's going to be there next week.
Because as far as she was concerned, she was only supposed to be there for like one day.
Yeah, this is a half-day trip that whoopsie turned into an overnight. And now, like, she keeps on committing to seeing someone in the morning. She's like,
because Rosa's like, are you going to be here? I'm like, I'll see you. Can I do a follow-up in a couple of days? And Joe R is basically like, we'll get back to you.
I'll bring her back at some point. Yeah. Totally.
And not committing to win because, again, he doesn't want to pressure her. That's right.
That's how he's honoring her. God damn it. So, she's in her good woman spiral, and I get it. I get it.
I do. I got it too.
And he says, like, okay, well, he opens the door and he's like, oh, it's raining. Do you want to sleep indoors? And she goes, actually, nope. I think you just need to take me home.
Yep.
And he's like, what?
What?
After this day, he says,
right.
After the day we just had?
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't speak false to you once today. Like, not even one time. Okay? I can't even think of a half a time. All right?
I was like on a roll with the honesty today. What the hell happened?
Yeah.
You had great rounds. Like,
yeah.
What happened?
Oh man, I have to actually read this out loud because her spiral is so just
painful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
She let it like all out, like an emotional splatter. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what? She let it all out like emotional orc seed.
That's right. She really did.
She really did.
So he is like, I don't understand what's happening. And she says, oh, sorry. Oh no, I might have gotten the wrong one.
Oh, hold on. Let me see. Oh.
Man, there are a lot of times I Googled the word Dottie because she uses that to describe herself quite a bit. Oh no, it's Dottie and Unfashionable. That's chapter 30. Okay. So he's like, I don't understand how this could have happened. Oh no, I did wrong again. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Maybe this isn't it. Wow, she talks so bad about herself so much.
You're right.
Here it is. I should have just Googled not a good woman. What is my problem? My fucking lateral ADHD brain sometimes. Like, no wonder a lot of people can't follow where I'm going. Jesus.
But in your defense, that like shows how many times she did talk bad about herself that she kept getting the wrong time.
Yeah.
There was a lot.
Yeah. And so he's like, I don't know what's happening. Why are you doing this? And she goes, yeah, you didn't lie to me at all today. And she says, which is exactly why I know how things are between us. Like, you might feel obligated and aroused and like maybe even amused sometimes, but I'm still a Lord's daughter and my father is a big problem still in your world. Yeah. And like, I don't know, like you didn't intend to trust me. And you'd never want someone like me to actually join your new clan or be your mate, she wants to say. But he picks her. Oh, sorry. And then she says, I'm not a good woman. I'm not beautiful. I'm barely even interesting. I'm a dotty, stupid, unfashionable, plant-obsessed Lord's daughter with a penchant for self-destruction and an appalling ability to fix my affections upon males who couldn't actually care less about me.
She ran herself down.
And she says, the more time I spend with you, the worse it gets. And the more I want to forget how you really see me. So I really should go now before it gets worse.
Yeah.
And he says, you want to know how I see you?
Give it, Joe.
And she's so scared, but she's like, And he picks her up bodily, walks her into that goddamn garden, into the center of it, puts her down on that moss-covered altar, and just starts undressing her as he's saying, you will never say that ever again about yourself.
Oh,
you will never call yourself stupid again because I know, I watch, I see.
Yeah.
And like, you are none of those things. And I was conflicted about this. It was completely in line with the characters.
Yeah.
But, you know, my out of body brain was like, Joe R, she needs words, you know, because he's telling her that. But then he's like, and I'm going to prove it to you with a cunnilingus that'll rock your world.
And it did. Fair,
and like, yes.
Fair, it did rock his world. But yes, she needed the words.
Yeah, like this worked.
Because let's be honest, like Roy gave it to her.
Sure.
Often.
Yeah.
But his words were so destructive that she needed like all the positive, affirming words from him. But the cunnilingus was on point.
Oh, God, you never again say you're stupid, he hissed at her as both his clawed hands grasped at her bare thighs, yanking them brazenly apart. Or all the rest of this. You wish me to speak false to you? Then you stop doing this with me.
I was like, oh, God.
And she's like, I don't understand. All of that is very true. And so not only does he go down on her, and then he crawls up on her and they have penetrative sex. And she's like, he's telling me without words. Like his eyes are just boring into me. And he's telling me without
words. The way
words
he's fucking her.
I'm his.
Yeah.
He's claiming me and all of that. Oh,
and God, like, so like subconsciously, he does it on such a sacred place of like honor and worship. Like, he's worshiping her with his body.
Yes.
Like, that's what it was.
Because one of the ways that you access the goddess Bautul is to fuck flagrantly in her honor.
On her altar.
On her altar.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And because she's like the goddess of like the moon and the sky and like elements, really.
It's rain.
The rain coming, it was so beautiful.
And
like I imagined it in my head. Yes. And the thunder is going in time with like his thrust and their screams and moans and like, it was so
and his body is like sheltering her from most of the rain.
And he's getting it. Oh God. Like, it was elemental.
It
was. It was so great.
So he sits down next to her and like throws his arm over her body, and she like, again, pretty much on instinct, just sort of puts her hand down between her legs and takes a bunch of his cum and just starts wiping it on herself. And she's like, I don't know why I need this, but I do.
Yeah,
and he's
but
like,
I do.
Yeah.
Scoop.
So he gets in there too. And he's like, I swear to God, he puts it on her earlobe even. He's like, this cum
just wipes her down.
It's going to be everywhere.
He does it like it's like aloe. You know what I mean? Like,
goddamn coconut oil.
Really?
Oh.
Yes, everywhere.
And then he goes, so go home, not yet. It's so good. Oh, and then she's like, but I don't understand this because you were all business all day. And like everybody else was being sweet and touchy.
Oh, yes.
You weren't. And he's like, yesterday. Yeah, he's like, I hurt you yesterday by fucking in front of people.
Right.
And like there was no privacy and I didn't want to do that again. I'm sorry.
And he's like, I took you around so you could do your thing. Like that makes you happy.
Yeah.
And you were so great at it. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, he really did. He was telling her without words again.
Yeah.
How competent he found her, how
important she was,
how important, and showing her how important she was to not just the women, but to like all 5 clans. Yeah, because it wasn't just his clan that he took. It was like, oh well, Silfast and but all the other women of the other clans, like he was showing her without words.
He was.
I'm like, dude, she's like,
she's a words of affirmation kind of
person.
She
is. That's her love language, for real. That's her love language.
Like, just dabble in some praise kink. You know
what? I think that's what mine is, honestly. I'm a praise
far
kink.
Off from me. Not far off.
I am. Give me the words, but like write them down because I don't want to look in your eyes and be like, that's awkward.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So then she has like office hours now.
Yes, the office hours were so great because it wasn't just, and hey, I didn't realize until she like did the office hours how many women, even though she did say it in the beginning, like there were more and more women who were turning up, like, because human women know orcs can fuck. So they would get in trouble if they didn't have a midwife who would help them like take birth control to prohibit
or just help them through the pregnancy.
That too, if they decided to keep it.
Yeah, one lady comes in and says, my first birth was really harrowing because I didn't tell the midwife I was pregnant with an orc baby.
Yeah, the midwife was
until
terrible.
The labor. Yeah. And she was like, if my dude hadn't been outside hiding in the bushes, it would have been awful because she was planning to take it and confine me.
Right. Because the midwife assumed that she didn't want the baby.
Right.
And when she was like, oh, hell no, that's my kid. Give me my baby. It's like, okay, I'm going to take this baby and then you're going to be in prison because obviously you're not in your right mind.
Yeah, you're deft. You're batty.
Yeah. Right, because there's no way you could possibly want an orcling. Like, there's no way.
No,
and if it wasn't for her mate.
You don't deserve agency anymore.
No. And what was so terrible about that and what Gwen found so terrible about that, it's another woman doing that to a woman.
Absolutely.
You know, if any of us should understand and have sympathy and compassion for each other, women. And that midwife was all levels of horrible.
Oh yeah.
And so there are women coming in from not just Orc Mountain but other
leagues away
community. Yes, because they've heard that there's a human midwife at Orc Mountain. And I thought that was so awesome.
Like, can you stay for my birth, please?
Right. And she's like, another day, another week.
I can do my best.
And she tells this one lady that was so awesome. She tells this one woman, because I think she was like a couple of weeks away.
Yeah.
Or like 3 weeks away. And she's like, I can't promise that I will be here like at your next check, but I will do my very best to be here for your birth so that my face is one of the first faces that your baby sees. I was like,
to greet your son.
You are so the shit.
So the very last appointment, she was
amazing at her job. She was wonderful.
Yeah. So the last appointment though is a little rocky.
Different.
Jules comes in from book 1.
Yes. With all the tea, you know.
Yeah. And so Joar has been telling her the women need you and like telling her that, you know, men are still hunting us and, you know, sort of telling her all these things, but he's doing it in a very breadcrumb way.
Right.
And Jules comes in and she's like, no, bitch, we're in crisis mode.
Yeah.
Like, really? Like, we all came up with this plan. Here. Yeah. DEFCON most extreme. Thank you. Because I never know if it's 1 or 5 was just the most extreme one.
It's 5. Okay. Yeah. Right. We're literally 12 days away from this law going. She thought she had more time.
Yeah.
But she's like 12 days away because
the law's going to get ratified.
Right. This is going into law. They steamrolled this ahead.
Yeah. And up until this point, they've already lost 5 mates, and most of them were from the Bautul clan.
I was so hurt by no wonder what's his name's Matt. Like,
yeah.
And we're ready to go to war.
Yes.
They were ready to go to war with men. And this is when Joar stepped in with this plan to keep them from just, you know, fucking over this treaty.
Yeah.
Because they would have put everybody in jeopardy.
Right.
So
he takes the sacred vow. That's what that necklace is. That's a sacred vow that he's going to go fuck this woman over.
Yeah.
And now he's like going back on that.
That necklace is also what she finds out. Who did she find out? She found out from one of the women. I can't remember which one. But that necklace is basically given to untried members of their clan.
Kids. Let's just say it. It's a rite of passage. It's a child's thing.
Right. And when you do an act of service that benefits the clan, then you've grown up and you're, I guess, a full-grown male in that clan.
He's 30-ass years old.
Yes. And he is a tried and true warrior. Mm-hmm. He has been in the service of orcs for years.
He's chief fucking spy.
And he's being treated like an adolescent with that thing. And
she's
all the
mad
time
about it.
Oh, she is hot.
Yeah.
She is hot. Because like she's remembering like all the times he's stroked it. And we were thinking up until this point, like, oh, he has like a memory, or maybe it's like a comfort thing, like, because I'm thinking it's passed down from like family or something.
Yeah,
like
or
that.
it's like it's a crutch.
It was so not that.
It's the
he was
opposite
doing
of a crutch.
It's the actual fuckers, and you know that was all so fast who did that. You know it was. You know
absolutely.
It was just another form of humiliation, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, so now he comes back in and she's pacing and she's not okay because she's like, he's still, it's all a manipulation. I thought we were getting somewhere.
You weren't,
and it's obviously not. And I don't understand, like, why? Like, what else do I have to do?
Right.
And what do I have to prove to him? And she's hard spiraling. And so he comes into the room and she says, I'd rather be alone right now. Yeah. And he crosses his arms and he very gently says, no. Nope.
Because there's a scalpel nearby?
Yeah. Really? And she's like, what do you mean, no? I'm telling you that I'm not going to have you around. And he's like, no, I'm not going to leave you, not here. Not
how you're feeling. Nope.
Because
not going to do it.
You're a witch who's going to find another way.
Yeah.
And she like cannot make words. She's so mad. And she's like, you still are holding back from me. And I don't get it. And so then he goes over and he lifts her up onto the table. And
a part of me was like, this is
what?
But then the other part,
what'd you say?
Part of me was like, this is so insanitary. But like, it's so insanitary.
It didn't even cross my mind.
But it did, like, okay, like that's what I was like, but you're in a clinic where, it's
they'll wash.
But then the bigger part of me didn't give one single solitary fuck.
No.
Just the one she was about to give. She was about to get. Like,
honestly,
that's all I cared about, really.
Especially because this was like, God, what was it? It was like emotionally fortifying truth serum. That's what this sex was used for.
Yes. And it wasn't gentle. Like, he was replacing like sex for her cutting herself.
Yes.
Like, he was making her use this as a way of release.
As a release, right? Yeah. A different kind of release, a different valve
showing
for the
her
same
another
emotion,
way.
Right?
Yeah.
And he makes that very clear because throughout he's like pumping into her and then going,
now he's talking.
All right, now tell me what it is. Like, what is it? What have I done today? And I will shoot you straight about it. So they go round and round and she's like, you didn't tell me that like one woman killed herself because she was kidnapped and had to terminate her pregnancy.
Right.
Like, that's
horrible.
not you. And so after all of this, he's like, it's not because I don't trust you.
Right.
It's because I know that you'll take it all
onto
upon yourself.
Right. And this isn't on you. This is not your fault. You're not responsible
father is not
for your father.
You. Right.
Yeah.
And
he's like, right. She would have.
She absolutely would have.
But she has before. So she would have. Yeah.
He's like, I know you would have dropped everything. You would have put your own health aside. To like make something right that is not yours to make
your fault. That's right. Right.
Oh, it's so hot.
Yeah.
And it's so good. And it's so just like, I don't know. I spend so much of this book like heart racing, eyes as big as saucers, just being like,
same.
How is it this level good too?
I know.
How did she hit me in this part of my heart?
Right. Because I connected with her.
Right.
But I also connected with him. Like, he was such a protector.
Yeah.
And
she'd never experienced that before. She didn't know what it looked like.
Which is why she was always so confused by like his methods, because she didn't recognize it as protection.
Right.
Well, she's used to being smothered.
Yes. Yeah. And not to mention that he's a bit clumsy about it because he's not used to giving that sort of protection either.
No,
so.
He really just did. He got in his own way sometimes. He really did. Yeah.
Oh my God. So we can't get into it, but before this, there was this crazy moment where she made him part of his tribe even more because he took her down to look at the fight rings and then he got goaded into fighting. And then he did beat the leader.
I love this scene. I love this scene. Hit him upside the head with an axe.
Yeah. An axe that his brother kicked toward him
because
they knew he was in the right.
Because they were like, this is what went back to like one of the things he just doesn't like about them is what sense does it make for you to beat each other to shit, not seek help afterwards? If we were to have an attack by men on the mountain right now, none of you would be worth a damn. Right. You would be no help to us at all because you're just broken, really. You got broken bones. You got people throwing up in the grave. Blood is everywhere.
Teeth gone.
Why are we doing this? And he's not against sparring because the Sky spar, but they don't do it to maim.
No.
And they were like, the only clear winner is the person who's standing. Like literally.
Insane.
So while he's like going, him and Silfast are like battling, he's moving the injured orcs out of the way.
He's moving injured and unconscious orcs out of the way.
Yes.
And he's noticing
they start
the orcs
doing it.
Yeah, he notices the orcs who do it too to support him. One of them is an orc who he's finally on the ground and Silfast is beating him to a pulp with his fists. And so one of them just kicks Silfast's axe over to him so that he can clobber him in the face.
And like his eyes just rolled back in his head. He's
so beautiful.
And then the orcs start cheering. And then even Gwen is like
and they make eye contact. She's up in this stands. Okay. They make eye contact. His eyes go molten.
Yes.
Right? He leaves the ring
over there.
He is prowling at her like a leopard.
We all can see what's about to come.
He is just
literally.
He's just putting his hand on those bollocks, being like, "Oh, I got a load for you." And then she notices that everybody's watching too.
Yeah, crowding around. Really?
And he's like, "Do you wish for me? Like, do you want to honor me too this way?"
And she recognizes what this is.
Oh yeah,
and she wants it.
Yes. Yeah, she's still worried. Like she's still not completely comfortable
with the exhibitionist. Yeah, but
she finds it hot.
Yes.
And it does hit her shame button a little bit, as well as just the general ecstasy. And so she deep throat. So holy shit. So he grabs her hair and he pulls her back a little bit and she's trying to get her tongue onto his cock still.
This is one of my favorite parts though.
I know.
Because what is he? Okay, go ahead.
First he looks at her and he's like, "You only look at me while you're sucking me off."
Yeah.
She's like, "No probs."
Got it.
And then he's holding her off and she's desperately trying to get back on his cock to get that honeycomb. And he looks over at one of the orcs who's definitely team Jawar now. Jawar now. And he's like, "What should I do with her? Should I let her suckle me? Oh, should I let her suckle your seer until I spill my seed or whatever? Or should I tend to her throat?"
He was like both. What?
Yeah, and he says, and he's in a daze too. He's in a blissed out daze, and he's like, "Both, please."
Yeah.
And so he's like, "You heard him. You suckle me first, man." And so she gets to lollipopping on him.
What does he do in the middle of that? He fixes his broken nose.
Fixes his broken nose. And she is like,
that
"This
was bananas.
This is hot. This hot, arrogant fuck. He thinks he's gonna ignore me. I'm gonna go even harder. So then she starts deep throating him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, witch, I didn't forget about you. Don't worry. Do you want me to give you what you want all the way down your throat?" And she's like, literally nodding on his cock, base onto his goddamn abdomen. She's nodding on it. Her nose is touching on it. And so he just starts fucking her face,
her throat. Yes, he
does.
His
entire clan.
Yeah.
And they watch her just drink him down.
Drink it down.
And he's like,
great.
"You're a witch woman." And he doesn't say anything. He just closes it up and he's like, "Hey, bud, why don't you come to the garden tomorrow and I'll show you how to grow things."
You too. Eeyore or Ior, they're twins.
Those
you too.
ones.
Come on. Yeah.
Yeah, because they were the ones who were like pulling guys out of the way.
Right.
And he's like, you can come hang out in my garden too. Like, come be in my club. And then he's like, all right, woman, come on. And he takes her out, and they're like quiet for a little while. And she's like, oh my God, he
just
did it
used
again.
me in front of everybody to prove a point. He manipulated me, but like she's
spiraling hard.
Yeah. And then he like,
her up.
This was one of my favorite parts.
I know.
Yeah.
He puts her up against the wall, and he starts like kissing her neck and being like, witch woman, like, you've entranced me. Thank you.
You've honored me. In front of my clan.
You knew how important that was, and you gave it to me.
Yeah.
And he's just in awe of her.
He is. And you can feel it like with his words, and that stops like the whole spiral because she realizes that he wasn't dismissing her or using her, or
they were a team.
Yes, they did this together.
Yeah.
And she helped him once again prove what, like, his strength, his virility, his leadership, and that he had a strong ass woman with him.
Yeah.
And he was so grateful.
Yeah.
And that was one of my favorite scenes.
Seriously. I can't believe I forgot it.
Then we against the wall.
Oh yeah. God. Does he ever?
Hey HBs. I started an Etsy store. Did you know? Right now, it's full of all the St. Vincent items you need, because St. Vincent is thoughtful and cozy all year round. We've got a book sleeve to keep your books, planners, e-readers, or really anything else safe when you're on the go. The inside is fuzzy, and they feel so incredibly lush in your hands. I went round and round with the manufacturers to make sure I had just the right thickness. Those feature art of St. Vincent and Evie during their carriage adventure that was painted by the amazing Mayara Faraz on one side, and then I created a St. Vincent Would Always wreath on the other side that has a bunch of little Easter egg items in it. There's a St. Vincent Would Always warm brick enamel pin. It's like, if you know, you know. I designed a special edition Marriage of Convenience candle that is specific to Devil in Winter, with the help of HB Jen at Post Pouring Company. It combines dark amber for St. Vincent and rosewood for Evie, and it smells so delicious. It's hard to even wrap my brain around. So if you want to treat yourself or be the St. Vincent you want to see in the world by getting a care package for a friend, check out our Etsy store. The link is in the show notes.
And then she does those office hours, and so the pivotal thing at the end of this transcendent fuck regardless is that he's basically telling her, like, I'm trying to do all of this without entrapping you. Like, I'm trying to let you find your own way, and I'm just sort of hoping that I'll be included in it. And he's like, I didn't want to like back you into a corner and like irreparably make you mine.
Right.
And she's like, oh my God, the only way he would be able to do that is if I was pregnant. But I'm on like massive doses of birth control.
Triple the dose. Like, I've been really building this up for no accidents can happen, because she doesn't want to repeat of 16-year-old herself.
Right. So she says, wait, Joar, am I pregnant? And he's like, yes, you are.
Oh, God.
And she says, since when? Because she wants to know how long he hasn't told her.
known. Right.
And he's like, I think the altar out in the garden, like, the goddess bless them. I'm sorry. I'm not religious either, but I'm sorry. Baltor bless them.
But the way y'all blessed that altar?
Oh, come on. You were getting a gift in return. That's right. Jesus.
Oh, I might have left up pregnant after reading that. Like, I'm not surprised you are.
That's like Magic Mike 2 level. Get you pregnant.
Man.
Yeah.
So we're not shocked, but she's like, she is stunned.
Yeah.
Because apparently, human birth control is no match for the honeycomb.
Come on. And so he's like, he's like,
and he
but I still
again.
Well, he kind of did, and he's like, I'm sorry, I know I should have told you, but I sort of didn't. I just couldn't believe it. Like I couldn't believe that something so amazing could happen to me.
Because that wasn't his plan. It wasn't his plan anymore.
Right.
And but she's thinking it was his plan. Like she goes back to that. And what I like about through the whole book, even though she spiraled a lot, it got corrected quick.
Yes.
It didn't drag out, which could have been so annoying if it did, but it didn't. It got corrected quick, and so did this. You know, like she realized that, I mean, all she did was she thought back to how he had been with her in these last few days, and she knew that wasn't his plan anymore, but she was angry that he'd been keeping that from her.
And he says, like, I don't want to trap you. I want you to find your own way. And so he offers her a termination.
Yes.
He says, I'll take you to the healer right now, and
we can end it.
You can get the herbs that will terminate this. And she says, she's like a little bit horrified, and she's like, Jor, is that what you want?
Yeah.
And he's like, God, no.
No.
Like, that breaks my heart just thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, no way. I do not want that. But I absolutely, if you want that, we should do it.
Yeah.
And she says, she thinks about it, and she's like, this is completely different than my 16-year-old self getting accidentally pregnant with Roy, of all people.
You have already shown that not only do you want a son, but that you would care for this son, you would nurture this son and me. You would not abandon me. You've already shown that. Even before I found out, we were pregnant. So she knows.
Yeah, she has no hesitation there. Yeah, and now that he's on board. Yeah.
She's like, another thing I loved is that they didn't drag that out either with her. Like, I don't know if I want it. I have to think about it. No, she knew because she'd been in that position before.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love that Finley Fenn still makes it clear right there. She's like, once again, I have never judged a woman for making that decision.
No,
I just don't think I can in this place in my life. I don't want to.
Yes. And I loved how she took the time and explained that through her inner dialogue.
Yeah, absolutely.
That she made that decision before for her reasons that were very valid at the time.
She's never regretted it.
Never. She doesn't regret it. She just regrets that other people would look at her which judge her for that decision. But she also recognizes I'm in a different place with a different male, different circumstances, and she
different emotional landscape, different everything.
Yes, everything.
Different position. And so
in her job, like she has a job, she's a midwife, so she makes the choice, and that's one of the things that just fires me up about people who are pro-life confuse pro-choice. Like the name of it is literally pro-choice.
Yeah.
That means I have the choice to decide whether I'm going to keep the baby or I'm not.
Right.
It's not pro-abortion, as y'all like to say. It is not that. It's pro giving the woman her choice to have autonomy over her body to decide what she wants to do with it. And so she makes that so clear here.
Yeah. And actually, that's actually why I refuse to call people on that side pro-life, because I think the branding is fucked.
It's so misleading.
And it automatically makes anybody who poses anti-life, like, what the fuck?
Right.
So I only call them anti-choice.
You know what? I'm about to do that from now on. And I'm about to tell my daughter that.
Anti-choice.
We just had like this discussion about this about a month ago about what pro-choice is. And because apparently it was a discussion in the classroom about it. And I was like, listen, this is what pro-choice is. It is not pro-abortion.
Absolutely.
That's what they like to brand it as or make it seem as, to be, again, misleading language, but it is not. It's not. A woman, it's about choice.
It's about choice and control.
Exactly. But I am so using that now.
Yeah, they're anti-choice. That's all they are.
Anti-choice. Yes.
They don't give a shit about that life once it comes out.
No. They're not supporting it money-wise, emotionally. Like, they're nothing.
Nothing.
So you're basically you're anti-choice. You just want to take away my choice, my control.
Yeah, you're pro forced birth.
Yes.
Like
under all circumstances, you're so rigid that you won't even conceive of you can't conceive of a situation where this could be harmful.
Right.
Women to go through with this. So yeah, that I'm using that from that one. I'm gonna tell Autumn.
Yay. Yeah. Okay, so then I love this too because she shows how like she has no idea where he is mentally or emotionally because she's like kind of talking him into being with her. She's like, and I mean, I might not be exactly what you want,
right,
but
right. This goes back how she sees herself.
You know, like we have fun. You like. It seems like you like me a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think maybe we could make a go of it.
And he's like,
it's like, what the fuck? You're my dream girl.
That's right. What are you talking about? Yeah.
You're God tier woman.
That's right. You're goddess gifted. What do you mean?
You're
like
goddess gifted.
Like seriously.
Yeah.
Get well long. Shit. Yeah. I'll keep you here. I'll keep you here, woman. Ow. Like that's it.
Absolutely. Give me one invitation.
Listen. So they have this honeymoon period, kind of like what I call like a honeymoon period after that. Like a lot of days, like, well, few days go by and she's not even thinking about going home. And in the meantime, because she left a note when they originally left saying, going to go see a client, might be a while because complications.
Complications.
Yeah. So since she's been staying there, like his scouts have been keeping an eye on the house and going in and leaving
new notes
and making it look like she's been there and been back. Like, making it look lived in. The food is gone.
It's like, so good.
Yeah. Like they're so crafty.
They are. Yeah. And this is where I haven't read till. I'm going to read it this afternoon. So Naima, what happens now?
Okay. I'm going, okay. All right. So, okay, look, they go, I think this was before you might've read this. Mm-hmm. She meets great Aunt Agnes's lover. And he introduced himself like, I'm your great uncle.
I'm your
and at first uncle. I was like, she got orc. But no, like they can't have, first of all, can't have female orcs. But so that's not, but that was the orc that his aunt was in love with. Yeah. And they had a full-blown relationship.
Yeah, they had a silver time in their lives.
Seriously, they did.
They did that.
And he starts telling her about her aunt and how much she adored her. She really, and it takes away some of her guilt.
Yes.
About her not. So yeah. Okay. All right. Did you get to the part where like they're in the garden? And the orcs come, like the three orcs, like garden. They come back. Stella's late, and when she comes, she's like looking even more like tired than usual.
Oh,
she's like looking really, really run down,
haggard,
and very much so. Like eyes are red, like pale, and Gwen up until this point has not pushed being her midwife on her.
Yeah,
she's been her friend.
Mm-hmm.
She really has to walk that line of not crossing over.
Yeah.
So she takes her into like this one hut that they have where they like mix all the herbs and everything to make like, medicine. And Stella has become a very accomplished herbalist. Like she is doing the thing and she's been enjoying it, but she looks really, really sad. She looks really sad today, more than usual. And being her friend and not trying to be like her midwife, Gwen is like, I'm here if you want to talk, and so Stella tells her that she is so tired, she's just sad and she's tired and she almost wishes, even though she loves her baby, she almost wishes that pregnancy didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because it has, for Sylphast to her, it has been all about my son, my son, my son, my son. And not about her.
She's just become an incubator to him.
Basically, and that's what she said. She's like, I don't even feel he loves me for me anymore. It's all about his son and he doesn't care about my feelings. Oh. He doesn't care about my wants. He doesn't listen to me and I'm tired and I just want to go. And she's like, Gwen is like, that happens with women, with couples.
Right.
And women even think like that's not unusual for women to think like that, you
Sure.
know? And so she's like comforting her on that. And she's like, no, it's worse. Like he does not listen to me. And I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be pregnant. I just want to go. But she's not like wanting to harm. She's just really venting.
Yeah.
And so, and she's scared. She's so scared because of the new laws. So she
can't leave.
So
she wants to leave.
That's what it is.
But she can't.
She can't leave. She's so scared and she feels incredibly trapped. And she's like, this motherfucker don't even want me to go outside. Like, you know, and Gwen is like, switches into midwife real quick, but you should. You need fresh air. You need exercise as a pregnant woman. You need all of this, and you need to tell him that. She's like, he won't listen. So Gwen offers her, like, you know, my cottage is free. The scouts are looking out after it. You know, if you and Silfast want to go there for a break, or you want to go there for a break, it's guarded, it's quiet. You can work in my garden because you become so good at this herbalist thing. And it gives you a break. But that's when she was like, you know, then she's thinking to herself, like, damn, like, the law though, like it's dangerous for her. And before that, her, like, Stella had knocked over like the henbane, which is like a knockout drug or whatever.
Whoa. While
she was mixing it, because it has some kind of medicinal purposes. But so then Gwen is like, sedative. Right, it's important. Like, so Gwen says, after, you know, they're talking about, you know, the law and how women are being hunted and she feels trapped, Gwen is like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And if I could end this for you, I would. At that moment, on those words, Silfast busts into the hut. And he's like, basically, what the fuck did you just say? Are you threatening my child? You want to, I knew you were up to no good. I knew you want to come here and end orc pregnancies. That's basically what he's like. He's like, get the fuck away from my wife. And she's like, because he's like intimidating, but Gwen is like,
that's not what's happening
like,
here.
Like, listen, back the fuck up. Yes, that's not what's going on. But he is not listening. And she's like, you know what? If you would get your head out of your ass and see that your wife needs you to listen to her, maybe she wouldn't be so damn sad. You know what I mean? Like, and he's like, fuck this. Let's go get your shit. You ain't never coming back to this garden. Ever. And Gwen is, I mean, not Gwen, Stella
devastated.
Is so shut down. But in the when he's like going off, who appears? Jawar. And he's like, listen, back up. You ain't talking to my woman like this.
No.
You need to go.
You've crossed a line.
He's like, I will beat your ass again.
I will end you.
Because he's beating his ass again in the ring. Yeah. And that's another thing was Stella was like saying to Gwen, he's like, Silfast has like been impossible to live with, especially since Jawar came back. He's the seer. He's like the inherited leader. And he's feeling threatened because all he's done for this clan, all the battles he's led them in, and he's feeling so unappreciated. And so, like, so we all know that they've been talking. And that gives you a glimpse into another, like, Silfast feels threatened by Jawar. So he's like, get your shit, we're going, you ain't never coming back to this garden. Stella is so shut down and she just nods. And inside, Gwen is like, say something. Yeah. But she doesn't. She just walks off with her head down. And so, like, after that, Jawar, like, to cheer her up, Jawar takes her to, he was like, let me show you my other garden, my secret garden. Hugh Quincy Jones again.
Holy shit.
Down into, like, bowels of Orc Mountain is another room full of mushrooms, like any kind of variety you can think of.
She loves a mushroom.
Get high mushrooms.
Yes.
Like, she is stunned and she is so happy. But Gwen being Gwen, after she's like in this two huge rooms, and he's telling her, like, when he first came to Orc Mountain as an Orcling, that's how long he's been growing it. he discovered them, and now he would go out and pick them, and now this like his own mushroom paradise down there, really. But Gwen being Gwen, she starts thinking, wait, you lied again. You hid this from me. Because she's like, I won't tell anybody about your secret garden.
I mean, kinda.
Yeah, he did, but she sees something in his eyes, and she's like, hold up. No, it's just secret from me. It's not secret from everybody else.
What?
So you didn't trust me. So apparently other people do know about this mushroom garden. He never told her about the mushroom garden. And she's like, so you didn't trust me. Like, why have you been keeping this a secret? So obviously you don't
We're not
really trust me. You still see me as like the Lord. She keeps going back to that, like the Lord, what's name's daughter. And he's like, listen, it's not that. I needed to know that you were staying. I needed to know that I could trust you, because I didn't know if you would leave. I didn't know if I could trust you with the secret. I didn't know, but now I do, and which is why I'm showing you, right? So it's still like that kernel of doubt there, but they do edibles.
Yeah. There's hallucinogenics in this book?
There are hallucinogenics that like relaxables.
I cannot wait to read this.
Okay, the mushrooms are very like you get high off the mushrooms, and she's like, yo, I'm pregnant. I can't eat through the edibles. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, if you was pregnant with a human kid, but you got orc seed in you, bitch. That ain't touching like the orc. Like,
that's an orc in there.
They're not your everyday kind of baby.
I love it.
So they have high sex, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
But right after that, he's like, oh shit, Stella. And this is when we find out that's not the only reason they call him seer. It's not just for leadership. Because there's been like little hints. But she's like, how does he know that something's wrong with Stella? And he like, get your shit, let's go, get dressed. And so they're like running through Orc Mountain, get to her room. And she's gone. Her bed is gone, but on the floor, just like knocked out, sprawled out, is so fast.
Incredible.
And he goes over to him. She drugged his ass, knocked his ass right on out.
Wow.
And it's so much that like Joar can smell it on him. And he's like slapping so fast, like, come on, wake up. Your woman's gone. And he's like trying to, so fast comes to a little bit, but he's still like drugged. And he tries to take a swipe at Gwen. And like Joar ain't having that. Because he's like, it's your fault. She left because of you. Because you filled her mind. She's like, no, it's all you.
It's you, bud.
You didn't listen to her. You drove her away. And then Sylphast starts crying.
Oh.
Like he starts crying because like Joar's like, we have to go after her now. We have to find her now. She's pregnant.
Dangerous.
She's dangerous out there. And we have to find her. And he's like crying. And he's like, listen, Joar's like, I'm going to go get the rest of the soldiers.
Yeah.
We're going to find her and we're going to hunt her down. And Sylphast is like, no, you cannot. The shame that will be that. And that was Gwen's reaction. She's like, this motherfucker care more about shame and pride than his own,
than the
not
safety
only just
of his partner,
maid and the baby you're so obsessed with. And then she realizes that no, it's not, because he's like crying at this point, and he keeps on talking, and she realizes it's not about him. And Joar explains it to her. There, like he's like, no, he's not talking about himself.
Okay.
With mates, if they leave, the shame will be on the mate, that she'll be outed, she'll be kicked out of the clan, that she won't be welcomed anymore. And it's basically like throwing, like shitting on the goddess is pretty much what it's like. And so he wants to find her before anybody realizes she's gone, so the clan won't turn on her. It's all about her. And he's like, and then he just breaks down more. He's like, I know she's been sad. She's not the same Stella. And I don't give a damn if she loses the baby. Do I want my son? Yes. She loses that baby. I don't give a damn. I just want her back safe in my arms.
Yeah.
And that's when you see like this other side of him. He's been acting this way with her because he's been scared. Yeah. And he just didn't know. Yeah. He just didn't know. And he wanted to protect her.
Right.
Not really like his son, yes, but he wanted to keep her safe because he loves her so much. So they leave, they're running through Orc Mountain, and then out of the blue comes, is it Calder? Like the orc who nudged the axe towards him.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'm going. I know she's going. Let's go. And he puts Sylphast's other arm on him, like, let's ride out. And now, because at the same time, this has been like a revelation to Gwen. Joar is not just a seer as a leader.
He has premonitions.
He sees things.
Ah.
And she realizes that, and she's thinking back to all the other times, like when the men came, it wasn't so much tasting them or sniffing them on the air. It was knowing that they were there and knowing like which way to go. And he knows things, and she confronts him about it. And she's like, this is another thing you have lied about and you did not tell me. And will our son be like this too? That's one of the reasons he didn't tell her either, because he knows people doesn't handle that well. And all this time, Sylphast has like sneered like seer. And this is why.
Oh, yeah.
People have not handled him knowing well.
Yeah.
And he was afraid if she knew that he could see things, she wouldn't want their baby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so she's livid.
Yeah.
And in Gwen fashion, she goes through, you knew that your original plan wouldn't work. You knew that this how everything was going to unfold. And you knew that I would get pregnant, and that was a way for you to keep me here. You also knew that the only way, like, your plan would work anyway, because I would have to go back home, because she tells them Gwen is at my cottage.
Yeah.
She's like, I know, like, she has to be. That's what we talked about. It makes sense. That's the only place she would go. And he's like, she's like, so you knew it would all work out this way in the end, that I would have to go back and see my father.
Still find out I'm pregnant with an orc baby.
Yep.
But
and
did he?
I would be,
or is it like
he did.
He can only get like flashes of things.
And it's kind of like if you're mated with somebody, like in other books, and he tells her, with you, it's always changing. It's either dark or it's always changing. You have changed. And this is words. You have changed the plan.
Yeah.
And it's like,
he's always talking about that.
She's this unpredictable. Exactly. She's this unpredictable variable where everything else that he sees, because he also saw Gwen running. Like he knew Gwen was going to be in danger at some point.
Okay.
But with her, he can't predict because she's unpredictable. But she's not really hearing that. She's not.
Yeah.
And she tells him, listen, we're going to go get Gwen. We're going to save her. You're going to bring her back here. And then you're going to leave me alone.
No.
You're not going to talk to me.
No.
You're not going to come near me.
Gwen.
Unless read him the whole riot act. So it was ugly. And he was so hurt.
Gutted.
He was so hurt. Yeah, he was gutted. So they're running. Powder's like, go, make sure she's safe. We're going to come up because
Sylphast is a bit of a wait.
Yeah, right. And so they get to the woods and he stops. And I think he like feeds her and he stops and she looks behind her and he's just crying. He is just crying. And he tells her, I didn't know. You switched the plan. You changed the plan. You are everything. You're my mate. And I fucked up. I did. But it wasn't on purpose. It's because I was afraid that you wouldn't want the baby. But I didn't manipulate you. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
And she's kind of listening. And she's kind of hearing him. But she's still mad as hell.
I mean, it would be like, it's a very convenient thing to be true. You know what I mean? I get that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's so I feel like she again jumped to a conclusion.
Sure.
Because I understood his reasoning, but still I'm like, Yeah, you
like
should
a
have told
cool
her,
thing.
dude. You should have. Yeah. Anyway, she was gonna. Anyway, you wrote it. She come to this conclusion that he knew the point to work all along, and he was still being that manipulative, deceptive orc. You know, and that he was willing to sacrifice her to get in good with his clan. That's how she saw it. And so he's like, I'll leave you alone. I won't come unless you call for me, but I love you, and I'm going to be here for you, but I'll respect your wishes. I'll respect your choices. Again, choice. Like, I'm going to give you what you want, but I do love you, and I didn't mean for any of this to happen. So she leaves him at the shadow of the woods, and she knocks on the door. She hears like a sound in it, so she knows Stella's there. And she's like, Stella, it's me. Stella opens the door, and Stella is a mess. She's like, I want to go home. This was wrong. I should not have done this. I should not have ran. I'm so scared. I was just fed up. And she's like, Sylphas is going to hate me. He's going to hate me for drugging him and leaving him and endangering his son. Yeah, she's like, no. Sylphas loves you. You should have seen homeboy. Like, he was nuts, and it wasn't about his son. It was about you. Do love you, and I don't like Sylphas. Like, she's like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And then the door just slams open. I'm like, bitch, you got lock, like an orc-approved lock for this door, and she like slams this, like the door slams open. And she's like, holy shit, what beast is this? It's like muddy, it's hairy, it's slathering at the mouth.
It's so fast. Oh, he's a mess. He had to go through the gorge.
He's a hot mess. Calder comes in behind him, and he's like, look, dude got away from me. Like, I couldn't even hold him anymore. We were in the mud. She's like, and the hair is like his hair. It's like all over the place.
Oh.
And he like grabs Gwen to him, and they have this moment, and he's like, this is when you find out, because I didn't read their novella, but this is when you find out what their kink is. What and is he's like comforting her, and he like slaps her on the ass kind of gently, and Gwen is like,
oh, you're treating me like my old self again. That is one thing they talked about earlier in the book. She was like, are they always like this, where she just like cowers and he's overbearing? And
Joar's like,
and Joar was like, no, normally she's like giving him shit and teasing him until he spanks her. And she's like, that's the whole game.
She's like a brat, she's like a brat for him. And it hits Gwen, and she's like, oh, okay, I get it. She's like, listen, for the purpose of the room, okay?
Yeah.
You don't have to discontinue intimacy games just because your mate is pregnant.
Right.
Now, here are some things. No nipple play, because it can cause contractions. You don't want that. And then with the restraints, don't make them too tight, because it's circulation. You need circulation. Of course, avoid the baby bump. But otherwise, it's perfectly healthy. And listen, any sudden changes in your relationship when she's pregnant is going to cause problems, right? Because she's already questioning her body and all of this, and then you switching it up is only going to make that worse. And they both like freeze, and they look at her, and they're like, are you serious? And she's like, for the room, yes.
For the whole room. Nobody in particular.
If anybody's interested, yes, that is perfectly safe. And then Sylphas is like, woman, are you certain? And she's like, yes, I'm certain.
More than certain, Sylphas. Jeez.
And there's my bedroom over there in case you want to continue this conversation, because he like slaps her ass again. They go in that bedroom and start fucking.
I love it.
And Calder is like, I think they're gonna be a while.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out.
They're a little occupado.
Yeah, I'm gonna, because in case some men come, I'm gonna go out and hang with your mate. And that's when she realizes that Joar did not leave.
No, he's not leaving.
No, he's out there waiting and still watching. He's gonna be within a distance
to protect you.
That's right. He is not going anywhere.
No, he lives in the woods now.
He died, like, he might as well build a little hut up in a tree.
Yeah,
a tree house. Like, he might as well. He's not going anywhere as long as you're here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's in there, and all she hears is like the slaps and the groans and whatever. And then she hears the sound of hooves and men.
No, I knew it. I knew it.
Roy.
Oh,
Asshole Roy.
golly.
And he's like, he doesn't even knock either. But he doesn't bust up in there in a sexy way. He busts up there in an asshole way. Where the fuck you been?
Yeah.
Forget all them notes. Where you been? I know you haven't been visiting the villages because ain't nobody seen you.
Oh.
So where you been? And she's like, basically like, you know what? Not your business.
Yeah.
We're not getting married anymore. And he's like, you're dreaming. Yeah, we're getting married. And she's like, I would never marry a person who doesn't respect me and who threatened to destroy my dream by burning down my house and my garden. He's like, God, I was just talking. I was mad, you know. And so they're going back and forth, and his ugly side comes out again.
Yeah.
Because she tells him, bitch, I said I'm not going back with you.
Right.
And even more, I found somebody else and I'm in love with him.
Yes.
And I'm with him now. I'm not getting married to you. He's like, do you mean your orc? And she's like,
I'm sorry,
what? I'm like, say what? Like, I don't understand. I don't compute. He's like, yeah. You mean the orc that's been sniffing around you and hanging around the town that they live in?
Oh my God.
And it's funny because he's been doing all kind of like petty shit, like letting birds loose in the town council when they're in a meeting, and just all kind of shit, like giving him shit. And he's like, yeah, you think we've been tracking him for months.
Oh wow.
Tracking him for months, and we almost caught him in the woods. So those were Roy's men in the woods. Yeah. And he's like, coincidentally, we almost caught him 3 weeks ago. Coincidentally, that's when your ass disappeared.
Yeah.
Like, so he's like tying it all together in a neat bow. And that's when she realizes Joe R being following her and like hunting her, which is like the skyway of mating, instead of like his clan has put your ass on on the altar and screw, like exhibition is screwing. No, the skyway is hunting down their mate and taking them. And that's how he first took her, remember? That's how he first took her. He took her in the skyway first, and then he took her into the Batul way. So I know it's just all coming together, and she's realizing this, and she's like, no, he was obsessed with me before the whole plan. Because the plan didn't come into fruition until like a month or so ago. Yeah. He said, like Roy said, he's been following me for months, plural. Yeah. He does love me. Yeah, that shit is. And Roy is like, yeah, what we're going to do, I know about him. We're going to find him. We're going to kill him. And you're coming back with me right now. And who do you think sent me here for you? Was like your father. So your father's no help. We're going to take you and we're going to kill that baby in you. And then you're going to marry me. And then you're basically going to beg for my forgiveness. She notices, like, remember, she took the crossbow with her to Orc Mountain. Yeah. At some point, that crossbow got back. Yeah. And I think Jawar put it back there. She notices it under the window, an open window, but also what she also notices, her foot nudges a pine cone. Right? Because there was this moment, the pine cone is the same one when they were in the woods coming back. He threw a pine cone at her. Yeah. Like as a reminder of when they've been there before. And she's like, yeah, that pine cone shit ain't gonna work. Oh. Like, you've been lying. And he so she like hurls it back at him. Like throwing it in his face, and he catches it, and that's when he starts crying, right? So, and when they're in the house, her foot nudges the pine cone, and she realizes he has not left me. No,
he telling me that he brought me a crossbow.
That's right. Like, okay, forget gifts. Like, who wants a bracelet when you can have a crossbow? Yeah. And so she notices. So does Ray. Ray lunges for it. She's closer. She turns around and shoots it at him. Like going for his heart, but Ray's a little like squirrely bastard. So it gets him like right here.
In the shoulder.
Yes. And he like passes out from the pain. And so I was like, when I was reading this, I was like,
you know what? I love that because it solidifies that this is no longer her house.
Yes.
She doesn't care about the mess.
No. Like,
she lives at Orc Mountain now.
Remember Jawar, like, I'm not going to shoot you because I'm not cleaning up no mess and dragging your body out. Now, screw the mess.
I don't care.
And what I loved about this, and you're also going to see it with her father, because he's like on his way there. Ugh. It's kind of like in the first book, how Jewel killed her husband and saved herself.
Yeah.
She saved herself.
Yeah.
Like, she took down the big bad. Like, because her father isn't really this law is, but her father's a weak man.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Roy is something else entirely. And he was getting ready to like snatch her up and beat her. Yeah. And she saved herself and put him down. And so fast and Stella comes out.
Yeah.
But she's standing over him. So fast is butt naked and all Stella has over his shawl. And she's standing over him and about to put another arrow right through his heart.
Whoa.
And Sylphast is like, hold up, woman.
Yeah.
Hold up. Think about this. You're of our clan now. That's who you are. You're a Batul now, right?
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself the question, how is this going to serve the clan, you, your mate, and the goddess?
Yeah.
If this is, then take the shot. If it's not, and it's just going to cause more problems, like us going to war after we lost our women, then don't take the shot. But you need to talk to the goddess first. And at first she's like, I ain't got no time to talk to the goddess. But she does. She does that pose like she did at the altar in the garden. And she like puts her hand over her fist and a hand on the table. The table turns out to be an altar, by the way. Her aunt had an altar in her house. So the first time they fucked was on an altar. Again.
Stop it.
Again. Like all the strings, man.
Goddamn goddess gifted.
I know.
Finley Fenn, you're a gift from the goddess.
Lady, your brain, your imagination.
Your brain.
Like, so this whole time she has been a part of that clan, even though she didn't know it. You know, and so she communicates and she realizes, like, this is not going to serve it. This is only going to bring down more war on it. Because he is like an officer, like he's he tells her, he's like, so are you going to do that, or are you going to call them in here and convince them you were attacked and that you were defending yourself and they should take them over? It's like, you're right. Okay, so they go back in the room and she like brings on our girly girl persona and calls them in there, and they're like, she's like, he was going to attack me and I had to shoot him, and my father's going to be so upset that he treated me like this. And his second in command is pretty much like, oh, Roy, I told him his hot head would get him in trouble one day. And they just scoop him up and it was like, we're so glad to see you're okay because we heard rumors. So glad. And I know your father is going to be so glad you're okay. They scoop old boy out and go.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's one mess cleaned up. Nice work.
I know. And then her father arrives.
Ooh, it's time.
Yeah, and he's just such an, God bless him. He's an idiot. And he's still not listening to her about, she's like, what is this I heard about? You shot Roy? And where have you been? I've heard rumors. And she's like, hold up. I'm not marrying Roy. Roy just tried to assault me, okay?
Yeah.
And I met somebody else, Dad. And she's like, I've heard about your law, okay? I've heard about it going to effect. You're just harming women.
Yeah.
And what are you doing? And he's doing that, pat, you know, Gwenny, don't worry your pretty head about it. She's like, I'm going to worry my pretty head about it.
Yeah.
Because guess what? I met somebody, I'm in love with him, and we're going to get married, and I'm pregnant with his son right now.
Yeah.
And her father's like, really not upset, right? Because he's like, oh, really? Right. Is he titled? Nice. How rich is he? Really? Wow. Let's bring him around.
Does he notice that she says son in particular?
No.
Because how would she know that?
Right. He does not pick up on that.
Wow,
so she says, Jawar, come out and meet my father. Because she knows he's there. He saunters out the bedroom. Into the room. Her father loses he's like, oh shit! Gwenny, there's an orc! Run!
Oh my God.
And at first she's like,
you dingbat.
Yeah. And then she's like, you're an ass, but at least you did think of me. You told me to run. Like,
right.
This is the level. This is the standard of care that her father has shown her, that she's impressed by the fact that he told her to run and didn't run himself to abandon her with the orc, right? And so she's like, yeah, this is my mate. This is Joar. You realize if you go through with this stupid law that you're not just condemning women, other women, you're condemning me. And believe me, I will return with you and I will tell everybody how I'm pregnant by an orc. And I will. She's like, I will testify in front of all your cronies. Okay. Yep. Gladly. It's going to shame you. It's not going to shame me, but I will do it if you don't. He's like, listen, Gwenny, I've tried to change the law. I tried to convince them that this is wrong. They're not listening to me. They're going forward. And she's like, you know what, then change the law.
Yeah.
And you better do it. And so her father is like, she's a little impressed that he did try to get this to stop, even though you were the one that was spearheading it, right? Yeah. And so he's like plopped down in a chair, pretty much in vapors. His daughter's pregnant by an orc. He's like, oh my God, Gwenny, all the men, like an orc. Who's going to like, why? Why did you do this? And so Joar produces a mushroom.
Wait.
I don't know if you remember earlier, it was almost like a throwaway kind of comment. Her father, like his vices are women and recreational drugs.
Oh.
And so Joar produces a mushroom and her father is like, give me that.
Please and thank you. Not even.
Yes. And Gwen is like, yo, hold up. Do you have any side effects from hallucinogenics, whatever? He's like, nope. Pop. He's like pops it in his mouth. Yes. And he visibly relaxes. Like, this is his shit. This is his drug of choice. And he's like, where did you find those? Did you steal them? And she's like, no, he grows them. He is a very accomplished mushroomist.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, right?
He mushrooms all over the place.
Yes, he is the mushroom guy, okay?
He could be your mushroom guy.
You read my mind.
Oh!
You read my mind, okay? Okay. Okay, he's like, okay, I don't know if I'll be able to like do this. She's like, you will do it. And then Joar was like, and if you do it, I will keep you with mushrooms. Yes. You will never go without mushrooms. And her father's like, so how many mushrooms are we talking? He's like, I'll give you a monthly supply of mushrooms. He's like, one a day and more for my friends. And he's like, yeah, no, I can't do like that many. How about two per week and some for your friends? And then they start haggling. And Gwen is like, the fuck? Yeah, they start haggling on how many mushrooms Joar is going to give them. And when they come to like a set amount, her father is like, good deal. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for you, aka the mushrooms. And he's like, damn it, I'm just overcome and I'm hungry. I've been traveling. And Gwen is like, Joar, can you fix my father something to eat?
Yeah.
Joar fixes them all something to eat.
5-star meal.
He goes out and of course catches another grouse.
Yes.
And like brings it in, more mushrooms, got sage. He fixes it up, and the father is like, at first is like, no. But then when he eats it, because her father is like, that's another sin of his, is like gluttony, and kills it. And so by the time he leaves, he is like satisfied. He's going to do his best. He's going to get that law changed. And he's set in mushrooms for him and his friends. Yeah. And after he leaves, Joar just like cracks up. He's like, do you realize your father was taken down by drugs? By mushrooms. And she starts laughing and she's like, yeah, mushrooms sealed the deal.
Incredible.
So like they have this moment. It is. And then Sylfest and Stella comes out and they have this moment, and Sylfest, even though they're not like buddy, you know, Sylfest respects him.
Right.
And he tells them they're both blessed by the gods. And he tells Gwen, because of how you saved us, all of us, we're going to forever protect this house. Don't sell it. We're not going to allow anybody to burn it down. It's a place of worship for all Batuls, and they can come in and basically fuck on the altar.
It's a worship Airbnb.
Yes.
It's the
and you can continue to see
personal fuck pad.
Listen, that is exactly what it is.
Yes.
And when she's not at Orc Mount, he's like, when you're at Orc Mount or you're traveling with your mate, we're gonna guard over it. It is ours. You're part of our clan. Your mate is our clan. And so this is ours now. Like, it was so sweet. It was such a moment. And Joar's like, and you can continue to see the human women who are pregnant with orcs or who need your services. You can come back here and do that. Yeah. And she is like overcome because she realizes her dreams have come true. Like this was her new way. And he was always saying, you're finding your own way. And this was it. She gets to be who she is. She has her mate because they profess their love to one another. And so then we have the epilogue.
Okay.
Right? And there's a big old party that Rosa, who's like the Kayesh, has organized for Joar in the garden. And he walks out and he was like, shit, these are a lot of orcs. Like, are they trampling my plants? And she's like, no. We got guards. We got ropes making sure nobody's over there. We got guards to keep everybody in check. And it's the twins. It's a party for him. Like a coming of age party for him to get rid of.
He did a good for everybody. Bringing the midwife.
Yes. And he served his clan. And so it is a party for him. It was so great.
Now he's a real boy. That is the sweetest.
And Hannah's there because, that's right. They had captured Hannah. Roy told her they captured Hannah. Remember, Hannah is the one whose baby she delivered. They captured Hannah. She had her father let Hannah go. So Hannah's back with her man. Was it her men, her orcs? She's back with her orcs, two of them. Yeah. And so they're at the party. She's like hugging on the baby because she delivered it. And then Sylphast is like, it's time now. Kneel before the altar, which is in the middle of the garden. And he says some words. And basically what he says is, we have our seer back. He's back in line. He's proven his worth. He's proven his service to the clan and to the goddess. Yeah. And he's one of us. And so he takes that big axe and he like swings it toward the back of Joar's neck, but it like stops real quick. It only slices the cord. Yeah. I mean, dude has great reflexes, right?
Wow.
And the tooth falls to the ground and Caldor comes, picks it up and throws it in the fire.
Yeah.
And that's the ritual. And then this is the part I was like, we just couldn't end the book without more banana. Yes. I mean, it started that way. Let's end it that way, right?
Yeah.
So Sylphast bends Stella over the altar.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you move, if you move too slow, you're gonna lose your chance. And he puts Stella over the altar and starts fucking her. And Joar is like, oh, hell no. Not in my garden.
Oh, my God.
On my altar. You're not going to have one up on me. So he looks at Gwen and she's like,
all right.
Yeah, let's do it. She's not quite as opposed to exhibitionist sex as she used to be. So they're having sex right next to each other. And Joar and Sylphast are going back and forth like, you see how my woman screams? She's screaming for her man. And Joar's like, well, listen to this. And he like pulls on Gwen's hair. She's screaming louder because she's getting this dick. They're like, really? Whose penis is bigger?
Yes.
While they're having sex. And then the funniest part, after they like come, right? He picks Gwen up and she sprinkles all over Sylphast like how my dog will sprinkle on a tree. That's what she did. And they both start laughing because it was like, it isn't raining, is it?
Oh
and Sue
my
passes
God.
this, but he finds it funny. Okay, so like it's hilarious, and that's how it is. Like they hug. They're like, yeah. It was so good.
It was
a perfect ending.
Good. This book was so many levels.
Loved it.
So many levels of amazing. Like, it's hard to even communicate. We did it in 4 hours, apparently.
Shit, have we been talking in 4 hours?
I just realized we've been talking for 4 hours.
Melody, it is 1 o'clock.
No, Michael's picking Ember up at school right now.
Hey, we have this has to be a record.
I think this might be a record.
Fuck, this does not feel like 4 hours.
No, not even close. I'm not even hungry for lunch.
This on Finley Fenn.
Yeah, Finley.
I don't even have to pee yet.
I know.
Like, you should not write so nuanced books that we have to discuss shit.
Yeah,
like we had to discuss a whole lot of stuff
dissect
other than things in the book.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah, stop it. Stop provoking such topical commentary, relevant commentary.
Yes.
No, wait.
Oh my God. 4 hours.
4 hours. Wow, Naima.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
I just have to say, oh man, this book is so good.
So good. So good.
I would do the audiobook for it in a minute.
So much. Oh, because wouldn't you just love to read all of those parts out loud?
Yes. Are you kidding?
Okay, look,
yes.
When you go back and you finish it and you read like the part with the duels, like the competing sex.
Yeah.
Please text me.
Oh my God. Don't worry.
Please text me.
Nobody can stop me.
And the part where he cries. Like he cried there and then he cried at the very end when he was like declaring his love for her.
Oh.
Like when they were in the garden during the party. Joe R is so wonderful. Like he is wonderful. Oh,
I love it. Oh my God, I love it so hard. God, and I love you. Thank you for being so awesome that I didn't notice we talked for 4 hours.
Listen, this is like this same. Because I'm still like, it's just 2, right? It's just 2. Maybe 4. But I'm looking dead at the time.
It doesn't seem possible.
We do that apparently.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
You know what? I think our joint lady love should be this series. This
absolutely
is bananas.
Yes, because the governess in the orc is so good.
Yeah,
like that's her latest one, and then the next one is going to be like the mated pair, like orcs. They're going to find their mate together in the maid and orc. That's coming out.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what? That makes me so happy. I'm so
excited about that.
That makes me so happy because, like, I don't know. I think, like maybe it was Katie. I don't remember. Somebody in a Menage book. It was probably gifting me to his best friend. Not sure, but like my favorite part about Menage books like that is like they're whole on their own. They've had their own perfect, dual relationship just with those two. But then like adding in something else just makes it even better. It only
makes it better.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is definitely what they are, because we've seen them since the first book.
Yeah.
And they are still they are wonderful together.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact, like you said, they're so whole and complete together in a healthy relationship together, and they're adding onto it. Like it can only. I'm so excited to read that book.
Seriously,
she only gets better and better and better.
It's
like these books; they only get better.
It's crazy. Yeah. Okay, well, I love you. We have to go.
It has been 4 hours. Yeah, we do. Like, I think there's a book I need to read. Like, yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Okay, keep being a badass and love yourself as much as you love Splash Mountain.
Yes. Yes. Take a ride on Splash Mountain.
All right, bye. Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.